Alright, how's it going? For this video I want to start off by apologizing a bit. I have kind of dropped the ball the last couple months and really not done much with the channel. If you follow me on Instagram, you know I've done a couple things with the cars recently, but I haven't shown everything on the YouTube channel here. And so, purpose of today's video, I really want to kind of recap everything that I've done this year for both cars, everything that I want to do in the future here, and you know, some stuff that you haven't actually seen here, you know, on the channel here in video. So to start, I'm going to talk about the Nova. You know, been a year of some ups and downs with the car, really. I have done some stuff that I've been excited to do recently. If you remember back at the beginning of this year, I had an LS engine, but unfortunately I no longer have that engine to put in this car. At first I thought maybe I wouldn't be able to get another one, but there may be hope in sight. We'll revisit that early next year, and we'll see how that plan progresses. But I still do want an LS to swap into this. I do still have some parts for it and all that. I think it would still be worth it in the long run. But one thing I did do actually just before I got the LS was install my new Holley Ultra double pumper carburetor. I've talked about it before. Basically it's an upgrade over what I had previously, but it's the same basic footprint of a carburetor. It just adds a second accelerator pump in the back. Wow, there's been a lot of rain recently, so there's a lot of water spots in here that I got to take care of. I forgot to cover the car, but that was one big change on the car that will open up opportunities for better running and power and such, especially with the LS later on. It's not fully tuned and optimized for this engine. I've filled with it a little bit here and there, but if I'm honest, it hasn't done a huge difference. And it won't really on this engine. It's pretty limited. Then I've also, another thing I forgot to, you know, paint up, and I will soon here, is I got a new brake master cylinder. I've talked about that previously as well. And at the same time, I also changed up my pedal situation. If you remember, I went back to actually the automatic brake pedal, since the aftermarket manual one really wasn't working. Just chopped it down and gave both the pedals a little coat of spray-on truck bed liner. Moving up to the front of the car, you will remember I did add the halo lights. You know, but before that I did mess around with the stock headlights, and I added the little angry eyes, and I think it adds something fun to the car. I also repainted the headlight bezels here. Made a big difference in how it cleaned up the front end. These were almost gray before, so it really helped accentuate those headlights and the angry eyes there. The grille itself, actually, I think it's been painted before, but I've never really had any issues. Maybe there's a few chips I might respray it at some point, as well as a few other things in the engine bay here, which I've already talked about before, of course. But, you know, just some simple things. The headlights made a big upgrade. I really do like the halo lights themselves. They're a lot of fun. Because they're LEDs, I can actually leave them on at things like car meets and such, and they look awesome, especially if it's nighttime. I left them on for over 2 hours at a time, and no issues with battery draw because there's such a low, you know, amperage draw being LEDs. They really work really well. I haven't had any issues with cops or anything thus far, but now moving to the interior of the car, one of the biggest upgrades to the car since I've taken possession of it right here, my Corbeau FX1 Pro fixed back racing bucket. Really, this thing is awesome. I might have to redo the mounts a little bit in the future, just because my floor pans aren't 100%, so I kind of do want to find a better way to mount those up. This thing has made a huge difference. Eventually I'll get one for the passenger side. Maybe not an FX1, but another Corbeau probably, because, you know, this is just not great. You know, I've already talked plenty about those, and this new seat is just a huge upgrade. I'm very happy with it. And hopefully in the future I can optimize, you know, steering wheel position and all that kind of stuff to make it even better. In terms of the, you know, day-to-day driving experience, it's made a huge difference. As we continue chronologically, the next thing that I did to the car was the front spoiler. Front air dam, front lip, it's not really a splitter, whatever you want to call it. I'm really happy with it. It was a bit of an experience getting it installed, but I really like it, and it opens up a lot of doors in the future to add some more kind of aero bits in the front, and gives me inspiration for the rest of the car as well. It adds another dimension of height to the front of the car, and it helps lower the front end a bit. I think it looks great. Makes the front end look a lot more aggressive. Now on the flip side of things, literally, at the back of the car and underneath, We have some new rear shocks installed, some Bilstein. They're actually Circle Track spec. I think a lot of people use these, at least for some Circle Track applications. They made the car ride and handle way better than the old drag shocks. Complete night and day difference, honestly. More grip in the rear. They did great when I brought the car down to Qualcomm, which, if you saw my racing letters here, or sorry, numbers, which survived the torrential rain we had a couple weeks ago. I don't really know how, but there it is. But really made a big difference. They helped the car launch better, I think, at least on the surface with the kind of tires that I had, and they made it grip in corners better, makes it ride around town way better, and just makes it more enjoyable to drive, which was a theme of things that I wanted to get done this year on the car. And in keeping with mods to make it better to drive around town just every day, I have changed up my mirrors a little bit. I've got a new 5-panel mirror, similar to like a Winx mirror, but it's just the Summit version of that. Got some brackets from Long Acre Racing. They're really nice little aluminum bits, if you can see them, and they worked well with the mirror. I also have Long Acre's side view mirror here as well. It's a little bit of a learning curve with the kind of fisheye factor of it. If you look, the Fiesta looks like it's really close to the car when actually it's really not. It's like 4 feet away. So it took some getting used to for that, but they've been working well. And the final thing that I did to the car this year, if you've already noticed thus far, I have new wheels. These are BMW E38, also known as 7 Series wheels, from like the late 90s, early 2000s. And I just needed the one spacer in the front, but they're the same bolt pattern. And honestly, they fit great. They're 18 by 8. I think the offsets were about a plus 15. And, you know, 1-inch spacer up front. The fitment could be a bit more aggressive, yes, but it'll look better with new tires, because these are only 225s and they're 11 years old and rotten. So that'll happen soon. But I love the way they look on the car. Really, they've really changed the whole look of the car in terms of the whole stance, and I'm really excited. All right, but that's pretty much all I got for the Nova. Next, we're going to talk about the Daily. All right, so I got almost 8,600 miles on the car now, and things have been going great. Really, the car's all stock. It's a brand new car, really no issues. It's a great, fun car to drive. Probably make a separate video in the future about just how fun. I have done one thing to the car. I went and saw my buddy Andy over at Andy's Muffler Service, and he did a little something for me. Now, yes, I know I said I would keep this car stock, but let's be honest, you know, not every car stays stock, but I don't want to do too much to it. It's going to stay stock downpipe, stock turbo, all that stuff. Maybe next year I might get an access port for it. Maybe do a little bit more to the exhaust. And when it needs tires, I'll probably get new wheels, but I want to get the suspension stock. It's great as it is. And that's pretty much it. And of course it is winter, so it does get dark very quickly. But I really just wanted to take some time, talk about, you know, things I've done this year with the car and things to look forward to next year. I really want to step it up, maybe, you know, maybe change things up on the channel a little bit. Might actually get a camera. We'll see. My phone actually just right now is giving me issues, so maybe it's a sign. Maybe change things up a little bit. I got a lot of really fun stuff I want to get done and want to do with the cars, and I can't wait to show y'all. See you in the next one.